Hey everyone, Minutia Minute here. Recording this video Monday night, hoping to get it edited and uploaded for tomorrow. Don't let the comic book background fool you. Today is actually going to be a movie rewind episode. Typically, I try to do my This Week in Batman on Tuesdays. This week, you're going to get it on Friday. And the reason for that is I've got all of last week's books sitting here, which I'm excited to dig into reading, hoping to do some of that later tonight. And then tomorrow I'm going to be able to pick up books, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get them all read. And since it's going to be a double episode anyway with last week and this week's books, if I switch the upload and do the comic books on Friday, movie rewind on Tuesday, it's going to give me just a little bit more opportunity to process the books, get everything edited and uploaded, and give you guys a decent video. As far as today's video is concerned, I'm going to actually keep it pretty low-key. I've got a whole bunch of different movie rewind projects kind of in the hopper, but nothing's sort of fully cooked yet. And so I was sitting around thinking, what could I talk about that might be a little bit simpler, a little bit more low-key, isn't going to require hundreds of hours of video reviewing. And I came back around to a topic that I've been thinking about for the last couple of months and had never really acted on. And that's just talking about boutique labels a little bit. Like any hardcore middle-aged movie collector, I'll be the first to tell you I love Arrow Video. I really enjoy Scream Factory. Vinegar Syndrome is doing amazing work. I'm always excited to hop online, see what's coming out, and get my pre-order in for the next thing. Just a couple weeks ago, I did a review of the Yokai Monsters box set, which was a blind buy for me, an expensive blind buy at I think $90, something like that for this, for 4 films, granted, but still not cheap as a blind buy. But I knew going in that the quality of it as an Arrow release was going to be high. I knew that it was going to be quality, curated content with some interesting special features. If nothing else, it would be film history in a box, and I had a fun time watching it. But that said, there's a dark side to boutique labels that I wanted to talk about. Because getting these kinds of elite box sets comes at actually a pretty steep cost for the hobby, I think. And it's not something I see people talking about a lot, and so I thought it might be interesting to call it out here. Now, when I hear people complaining about the state of physical media today, a lot of the time it comes down to stuff like this, which, this is Malignant. It's got a slipcase, but it's nothing super fancy. I'm actually, to be honest with you, not a slipcase fan, but it comes with one. And then inside, you got the movie. I'm gonna guess it's just gonna be on a plain Jane disc, with, of course, the requisite digital download code, which, for those of you guys who are still watching, there it is. It's all yours. Go nuts. You're in for a wild ride. This is a fun movie. I hear people all the time complain that there's no art on the disc, which, I mean, yeah, it's nice to have art, but, like, let's be real, like, it doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, it's the movie that matters. It's the contents that matter. This has got a movie. It's on Blu-ray, so it's 1080p. It's got one special feature, so you can't say it doesn't have anything. But all in all, this is a super bare bones release. And to add insult to injury, it's on Blu-ray, it's not in 4K. As far as I know, this is not getting a 4K release. This is the kind of thing that pisses middle-aged white dudes like me off. Because we want the premium package. We want the high-quality release that looks great on a shelf, that's going to have all the special features, aka something like Arrow Video's Yokai Monsters. Now, I'm going to say something that's going to come as a surprise to no one, and that is that physical media is dying. It's just the reality of it. The reason you're getting things on these higher quality boutique labels is because it's not worth it for the studio to put out a premium product. Even for their new release products, it's not worth the premium 4K release a lot of times, and they'll just drop it on a Blu-ray. And so I understand that there's an element of, this is just what the market is. So, like, when I'm going to complain about Arrow here, I'm not really complaining about Arrow. I'm complaining about the situation. And the reality is there's no way out of it, because this is just what happens when this type of media dies. And you see this in comic books too. Like, comic books have become more and more premium and more expensive because the people who maybe would buy it in like a mass market way aren't buying it. And so you cater more and more to the 1,000 people that still really care. They're the ones that are going to spend the money at all, and they're going to spend a lot of money on it. And so it justifies the more complex packaging or the more complex presentation. And the problem with this kind of market is that you create too big of a barrier to entry for people to get into it. Now, us YouTubers can talk till we're blue in the face about, hey, save physical media. You want to be able to have your media on disc so you can watch it at any time. Amazon can't take it away. You're not going to have to worry about streaming quality, internet being down, any of that kind of stuff. Like, we can make that argument till we're blue in the face. But if the movie you want to go buy is $100 because it only comes in this super fancy packaging, that's a problem. So I'm going to give you an example, which is the Daimogen trilogy. Now, I have not actually opened this yet. I've seen all of these movies, and this is why I wanted to give this to you as an example, because I bought these movies in a triple pack. This is the Mill Creek triple feature Blu-ray that came out in, who knows, 2012, probably 10 or 12, something like that. So like, these are going to be the best quality transfers by any means, but you get all 3 films. They come on 2 discs, pretty straightforward, bare bones. I don't think there's any special features on these. Oh no, there are actually a few special features on this. I'm not sure if I've actually watched these, but you get the original Japanese trailers, behind the scenes from the trilogy, and interviews with the cinematographer, in addition to new English dubs for the movies, which is very welcome for sure. But the point is, I picked this up at Half Price Books. It was like $7.50 sealed, because Mill Creek pumped out a ton of these. They sold it at like Kmart or whatever. Some people bought it. It made it into some people's hands at full price, probably like $15. And then the overstock shows up at a Half Price Books or some kind of secondary marketplace where they sell it for $7. And you've got this gem of a trilogy that a lot of people wouldn't have bought otherwise, that now makes it into homes, and you make new fans of Daimogen, which, I mean, for all the people who love Godzilla, 10% of those people love Gamera. And of all the people who love Gamera, 10% of those people are the ones that love Daimogen. So, like, this is the kind of movie that needs the exposure of a low-cost but decent quality Blu-ray release that's easily accessible. Now, obviously, these movies are available on streaming, but what are the odds that you're actually going to find this and stream it, like, coincidentally? Like, it's just not very likely. And if it's not something that's free, what's the chance you're going to say, I'm going to spend $4 to be able to watch Daimogen, a movie I've never heard of and know nothing about? Like, the answer is most likely not. And so it's really important to have physical media that someone can just find on a shelf, look at it, and go, oh, I guess I'll give it a try. Like, that's what happened with me, and I love these movies. Like, these are some of my favorite Japanese monster movies made. Like, obviously, nothing holds a candle to the original Godzilla, but most of the Daimogen movies are better than the vast majority of the Godzilla sequels that are out there. And they're definitely better than all the Gamera movies, including the 90s ones, which are quite good, in my opinion. So for probably 7-8 years, this movie was available as a triple pack. You could find it online, you could find it in stores, you could pick it up for like $10 or whatever, and you had an opportunity to own Daimogen. Then you fast forward to 2020, and you get the big premium Daimogen box set from Arrow. I haven't had the chance to open this yet, and I'm excited to see what's inside, because I'm sure it's going to be awesome. Like, there's no question. I mean, it's an Arrow video release, so, I mean, of course it's going to be great. Bummer. That's too bad. Although, doesn't really matter. I don't really keep the J cards. I usually, like, they sit around and I'm like, oh, I need to keep them, and then eventually I just give up and throw them away. Anyway, you got beautiful box art. Lift the top off. Ooh, interesting. This actually feels like a Vinegar Syndrome release, by the way. It reminds me of, like, the Amityville horror box set that Vinegar Syndrome put out, as an example. We've got Daimogen. We've got Return of Daimogen. we've got Wrath of Daimajin, which in this box set is called Daimajin Strikes Again, by the way. You've got a gorgeous book filled with essays, a lot actually of essays inside, which is cool. Art from the movie, all that kind of fun stuff that we know and love from Arrow. Now, if you're like me, you're looking at this video and you're drooling and you're going, oh my god, how do I get a copy of Daimajin on Arrow Video? Well, as far as I know, the limited edition is still in stock on Amazon. I'm sure it won't be forever, at which point this set will probably get ridiculously expensive. But even without that in mind, this is $100. Actually, sorry, update, it looks like it is now available through third-party sellers. So the limited edition is actually up to $134.99. Yikes. Now you can pre-order the standard edition for $72.99 on sale from $99.95. Now, if you've never heard of Daimajin before in your life, are you going to spend that kind of money to get this box set? If you're a collector like me and you're like, oh yeah, you know, like, I don't really know anything about the yokai set, let's give it a try. I've got some expendable income. Like, sure, of course, like maybe you would. But like for the most part, that's a non-starter. Like if you're not a movie fanatic already, you're not buying that box set. And you're going to miss out on some absolutely wonderful films. Now, obviously, this version of Daimajin is available. Like, you can go get it on eBay. But because Arrow has inflated the market with these premium editions, and these versions are now out of print, even these go at exorbitant prices. So I'm actually doing a quick scroll through on eBay just to see. And it's actually worse than I realized. Literally anywhere between $50 and $100 for this. And this is supposed to be a budget title. Like, this is not worth $50 to $100. But because the Arrow videos are so expensive, aftermarket retailers can get away with overcharging for something that was intended as a budget title. And so this is creating a real problem, because at the end of the day, like, I'm a movie fan, bottom line. I collect movies because I love to watch movies. I love to show people movies. There's so much great stuff out there to see. And the problem with the collector market as it is now is that it's creating too much of a barrier to entry for people to see these movies. I'm not even talking about owning the movies right now. I'm talking about just going out and seeing the films. Who's going to be the next Daimajin fan? I know there will be people out there, but you're going to have a smaller and smaller pool of people to pull from if you make it harder and harder for people to access those movies or discover them for the first time. The one solution I can think of is we need Arrow, Shout Factory, and a lot of these other companies to create more entry-level budget release versions of their films. I love having the giant Gamera limited edition box set. And I think there's totally a place for the special edition box sets that are out there. But they also need to have a third option. There needs to be the Mill Creek level entry box set where here's the discs in a simple slipcase, here you go, enjoy the movies. You don't have to put any special features on them, just give them the nice transfers of the movies. I think that's a must. And get those movies in the hands of people who wouldn't otherwise get them. And the advantage to doing that is you're also going to get your name out there, and more people are going to know what Arrow Video is, and they'll start investing more and more in you and get into the hobby in the same level that people like me and you guys watching are. I think a perfect example of this, and this is not a movie example unfortunately, but Mill Creek's been putting out the Ultraman series. So here's Ultra Q. This, for all practical purposes, feels like a premium release. It's got a nice slipcover. You got a booklet, goes through all the different episodes. It's got pictures. It's got summaries. In the back half of the book, you have a monster guide, which is really, really great. Something that is very welcome if you're getting into Ultraman and Ultra Q and all those kinds of things. And then inside, you've got some cool Virgin artwork on the front and on the back. And you've got simple discs on the inside with some characters on it, and so on and so forth. Now, if you handle this set, like, it feels budget. Like, the paper isn't quite as high quality. The box, it isn't a hardback box. It's just like a little flimsy box. But they skimped in the right places. So when you have this set, like, it feels like you've got something special. You got the diorama you can build, so it adds to the collectability element of it. It just feels like a well thought out package. This is $20. If you want the entire first season of Ultra Q, which ran for 28 episodes, on Blu-ray in high definition, you can get that for $20. You can't get the Ultra Q DVD set from back in the day for $20. And this is the kind of entry-level sets we need to see coming out of the big boutique labels. You can still have your limited edition, special edition sets. I love them. I want to be able to buy them. Don't stop making those, don't get me wrong. But we need a place where we can point people to. Because like with Ultra Q and Ultraman, like, I've seen this in people's houses who don't even buy Blu-rays, but they saw it at a Best Buy and they grabbed it. So like, there is still an element of people willing to go out, buy something on a whim because it looks interesting, and take it home and watch it and enjoy it. That consumer still exists. They're not going to exist forever. And the more you go towards these $100 plus releases, the faster those people are going to disappear. That's not what we want. I know it's not what you want. So I think it's important that we as fans recognize it and support efforts like the Ultra Q set and other things that particularly Mill Creek is releasing, because they are really hitting a sweet spot right now between budget and quality that they haven't had in the past. Like in the past, it's been all budget, no quality. And then on the Arrow side, it's all quality all the time, sacrifice nothing. But that mentality has forced Mill Creek to up their game a little bit. And now they've hit this kind of magic formula that we need to see on a bigger scale if we want people to be into the same kind of stuff that we're into. So anyway, I think I've rambled enough. I've more than made my point. I'd love to know what you guys think. Thank you guys for sticking through to the end if you made it this far. And I hope you guys have a great week in movies.